Terrific Tuesday, everybody. We are back. It's got me feeling nicey with your host, with this guy from Moving the Chains podcast. I'm rocking. We're rolling. 2 doubleheader games last night. I want to touch on both. But let me just start with this. Baker Mayfield, my doppelganger, my pride and joy, balled out last night. I want to touch on that game first. I'll get into my Raiders, which that was pitiful to watch. But I got to give credit where credit's due. The Chargers, they've done a phenomenal job. Their defense, Herbert's playing well, and Harbaugh. But let me start with this, with the Buccaneers. That was as fun a game as I've watched. And listen, I'm not a fan of these doubleheaders. Okay? I was up till 2 a.m. this morning watching my Raiders lose last night. So it was not fun for me. But I got to get on here. We got content. I got to talk. So, Buccaneers won last night, last second, against the Texans. Listen, that Buccaneer defense swarmed all around C.J. Stroud last night. And they got after C.J. Stroud from the jump. And I knew this from the get-go. Those defenses suffocate you. It reminded me of Sunday night. Falcons-Vikings. Jeff Ulbrich, his defense, Brian Flores, Vikings defense, they just got after both those quarterbacks and got them flustered all night long. Now, granted, for Atlanta, they got more on McCarthy than the Vikings did Penix. But it kind of had that same feel. It was going to be a black and blue kind of game. Tampa's down their best offensive linemen. They're moving, mixing and matching guys. And I just think Baker, he was calm under pressure. He's got that smooth operator command to him. I love this Baker. And listen, I'm a Baker Mayfield fan. He's my doppelganger. I love the kid. But he's found his home in Tampa. He has found his home in Tampa. I'm so happy for him. Listen, the Browns may be the worst run organization on that list in football. Because, listen, they could have kept Baker. I know he ruffled some feathers and he burned bridges and he wasn't ready to be that number 1 overall pick. But he has found his home in Tampa, and I am so proud of him. I told my dad this before I hopped on. He's got 70 touchdowns since he joined Tampa. He's been on a tear. They got weapons down there. Mika Ibuka. Holy hell. I mean, the Tampa Bay just drafts so well. Jason Light has done a phenomenal job with this team. And Todd Bowles, the quiet, calm demeanor, he's got them playing really well. And I just think they're a well-run operation, and I think they will be for years to come. I saw a tweet today. I hate Skip Bayless because I want to wring his neck. But he had a tweet today that I found fascinating. He said, during the offseason, Baker Mayfield, Jason Light, the general manager I just mentioned for Tampa, said that on a scale of 1 to 10 of being a prick, Baker's a 10. The trash talking, the combative, the fiery, competitive, gut it out, all out guy. He's a throwback. He reminds me of Philip Rivers. You hate playing against him, but you respect the hell out of Baker Mayfield, and that's my guy, and that's what got him last night. 2 games, 2 game-winning drives, elite quarterback playing. And listen, he was down some linemen. He was down. He carried the Buccaneers last night. He was a truck carrying the guys on his back instead of a trailer. That's what we described with the 2 quarterbacks, the groups. Trucks, trailers. Baker was a truck last night because he carried that team to a victory last night, and he did get help. We got it from Bucky Irving, the run game, which was shocking to me because 3 years ago, when they had Brady, they were awful running the football. Bruce Arians, we've known he wants to throw that pill around. Aerial solid attack offense, as I called it. But last night, they ran the ball better. Bucky Irving's a stud, Chicago kid, went to Oregon. He's an awesome 4th-round pick. He's been a steal for the Buccaneers. And I love Rasheed White. He can catch it out of the backfield. He can run it. Same with Bucky Irving. Both great skill sets. And then you got Mike Evans, the ageless wonder. He's balling still. Hall of Famer, no doubt. He's one of my guys. I've said when he came out of college, he'd dominate first right away. And he's done that 11 years of 1,000 yards. And Mika Ibuka's a stud. They haven't even got Godwin back yet. They're going to get him back. And their offensive line's going to get healthy. They're going to get Tristan Wirfs back. This Buccaneer team is in that elite category in the NFC. Watch out for Tampa because this division, they're winning it again. I think it's going to be between them and Atlanta. But I think they're going to win it because they're going to win the tiebreaker because of that win they just had last week down in an ATL. But very impressed with Baker. I'm happy for him. He got the dub. And just a remarkable job. They're 2-0 for the 5th straight year. They just know what they're doing down there in Tampa. I wanted to start off with the Texans. I always go losing side. But I was just so happy for Baker Mayfield that I just had to say it. So, talking with the Texans. That was ugly last night. Me and my buddy Max Lawson, much love, bro. We're both CJ Stroud fans, and I am too. He had a great rookie year, tremendous rookie year, like a lot of guys do. But then they get film on you, and then they start picking your tails, seeing what you do, what you don't do well. I will say this with CJ Stroud. He's a pocket guy. He's one of the last breeds in this league, and he's deadly accurate. But I don't think the Texans, and I think they've done a tremendous job, and I mean this in the nicest way. I was thinking about this tonight. Tremendous job of building this roster. From what the Texans were with Deshaun Watson, all that nonsense, to what they are now, it's awesome. Great transformation. DeMeco Ryan, CJ Stroud, first year playoffs. They win a game against the Browns. They lose in that wild card divisional against the Ravens in Baltimore, but it was close. They're right there. And then they kind of took a step. They won a playoff game. They lost one against the Chiefs in the playoffs. So they're 2-2 in the playoffs with CJ Stroud at quarterback. It's not bad. It's pretty good. So I'll take that to my bank any day of the week. However, I don't understand why they're not putting more investment on this offensive line. Listen, I know they're going to a new offensive coordinator. I said last year, CJ Stroud and that Bobby Slowick, and I've mentioned this multiple times, it's a Shanahan kind of offense. The minute that run game goes, your drop back game, it's bye-bye. Your offensive line sucks. Now it gets masked because you're running the ball so well, you're play action off of that, and you're getting the chunks down the field with the mesmerization and all that, your eye candy. Oh my God, wow. Misdirection, shifts, motions, formations, all that stuff. But I will say this last night, I'm still unimpressed with this offensive line. I thought it got improved. It still looks the same to me. So until you start protecting CJ Stroud better, Houston, you have a problem because it's not going to get fixed. You have got, now they got Jacksonville in a game they got to win. Something's got to give. Let the bodies hit the floor. Mosh pit. Okay? They got to have something go because Jacksonville's got a good front four down there. They're no scrub now. They got Josh Allen Hines and they got Trayvon Walker. They got some dudes down there. So they have accounted for 20 sacks, the 10 apiece, but 20 together last couple years. They've been outstanding together as a combination. Reminds me of Freeney and Matheson with the Colts back in the day with Peyton Manning, the sheriff. So I do believe Houston's going to be okay. But you got to win this weekend because you can't go 0-3, man. This team's a good enough football team. Their defense is solid. DeMeco's got them boys hunting. You saw Baker last night. He's trying to get away, man. It was a constant rush of just bodies everywhere throwing at you. And their defense is good. They got corners. They're a really good defense. And Stingley's a great corner. He struggled a little bit early, got better, got the big extension. So I do believe Houston's going to be okay, but they better get the ship right quick because you cannot fall 0-3, especially when you're trying to win that South because the Colts got 2 up on you right now in that division. Okay, so I've had a lot of thoughts today about my Raiders losing last night. I stayed up late, and that was disappointing last night. On Pete Carroll's birthday, nonetheless, you scored 9 points. Not okay. I do believe the Chargers, they lost to a playoff team last night. And that's my take right now, is I believe the Chargers are a playoff team. And I'll get to them in a second. But my Raiders just got a long way to go. This is going to be a long year. And I said this prior to the season. I don't mind them taking Geno. I can ride it for 2 years. But man, last night I'm looking around. Can I ride it for 2? I want Sellers bad. Excuse me. I want Lenore Sellers. Now, hopefully he's okay. He had a concussion in that game against Vanderbilt. Don't know why they lost that at home, but Vanderbilt likes playing spoiler, everybody. They beat Bama. They beat South Carolina. They upset them. So, whatever. Be that as it may, this kid better get healthy because South Carolina's got dudes everywhere. I watched it the other night. They got dudes flying around on defense. Their pass rush. They've always got good pass rushers. So they better get that right. And the Raiders need to take a quarterback. If I am them, and listen, I know they've been hesitant to do this ever since Jamarcus Russell. I don't need to go into it, Raider fans. Andrew, people I know that are Raider fans, they know the story. It was not pretty. It was the worst draft pick in history of the NFL. One of them. And it haunted the Raiders. And it's haunted sometimes me. Because they've had chances to take C.J. Stroud. They've taken chances to guys that they could have taken. And they just haven't. They haven't pulled the trigger. And again, they had Carr for a while, so they kind of didn't have to. But they got Geno now. And that's okay. I can ride it for 2 more years with Geno. But what I'm seeing with Geno is Pete Carroll hates interceptions. And this is why, to me, this fit is odd. Pete hates interceptions. Geno leads the league since 2022 with interceptions. So I don't... And Pete Carroll's defensive coach. He hates this shit. He wants that game in the mid-20s. He wants it conservative. Don't screw it up. Drive the Ferrari. Don't hit the car. Hit the tree. But this is a weird match. Now, from the Raiders' standpoint, they had to do better than what they had last year. I understand that. And I'm a fan. I turned off half their games last year. Because you can't be this in the NFL. Bad and boring. You can be bad, but you got to have a little bit of entertainment value to eventually get good. Raiders were neither of those last year. So, I understand it from that perspective. But Geno, he was your third option. You could have taken Stafford. You paid him $100 million. But Stafford made the right call, staying with LA, the structure. And I get all that. But you could have had Sam Darnold, but Tom Brady's now in there, which I still am laughing that he's up in the booth with Chip Kelly and whatever. Be that as it may. But it just really... I felt like this was a comfortability thing with Geno. And listen, I'm okay with it because I can ride it for 2 years. He makes us credible. He keeps us in games. That I understand. And he's a great story. Great kid, hard worker, all that stuff. That doesn't mean shit when it comes to football. Because you can be a great story and all that, but are you a good quarterback? I don't know. Geno has his moments, but he drives me crazy. The picks he threw last night were absolutely diabolically stupid. The Raiders had SSF, as I call it now. Stupid shit football. They played it last night. Okay? Geno, you were down 11 points. The Chargers can do anything offensively. You take out those 2 touchdown passes, the one on the blown coverage, which rarely happen with Pete Carroll's defenses, mainly in the back end, but it's a young secondary. I get all that. It's still early in the year. I'm not tripping. Okay? That happens. You get beat over the top sometimes. You have a DBU. Don't beat ourselves. You had one of those moments last night. However, you have to be better in the back end. Their secondary is bad, man. They can't get rushed last night. Herbert had time to throw. Listen, they did their best to neutralize Max Crosby last night. And Max Crosby's still a disruptor. I'm not disputing that. But this Raider team, it's going to be a long year because I'm telling you right now, they've got to get Genty cooking. I feel like they did better last night and got my ears perk and go, ooh, okay, we're getting there. But not enough yet. And we keep shuffling around offensive line. And I told a buddy of mine, Dan, this at the gym tonight. I remember a couple years ago, I would say in 19 and 20, that offensive line for the Raiders was really good. And Derek Carr had time to throw, and he was surveying, and I get it. Derek Carr was kind of like Matt Ryan. You had to give him protection in a clean pocket. He could slice and dice you. But the minute you don't, he sucks. That's most quarterbacks. But primarily with those 2 guys, I understood it. And then Gruden did something stupid. He went and he got rid of that offensive line, gutted it, said Derek tried with a shitty one, and it backfired. And ever since then, outside of Colton Miller being the mainstay, it's been shitty. And last night, I don't know what Geno was seeing. Now, credit where credit's due, that Charger defense suffocated us all night. It was like a boa constrictor. You could not breathe last night. But you still got to get plays against this defense. And for you to have a 16-play drive and not score any points, that's on the offensive coordinator. What are we doing? So this is, to me, the whole coaching hire of Pete Carroll I loved and I appreciated. But this is the knock I have on Pete Carroll. Dude, you did this in Seattle. You had a lot of offensive line combinations. You couldn't get it figured out. And this is why I hate defensive coaches sometimes. You're numb and you're just like blinded. You don't have any credibility on the offensive side of the ball. You don't. For some reason, you just don't. You don't get it. You're like Mike Tomlin. You've had 7 years to get this offensive line right, and you can't get it right. What are we doing? So, it was a very hard watch for last night for the Raiders. Brock Bowers wasn't right. I do believe that the Raiders play that game again. I think it's a better outcome. But, Raiders got a long way to go. That's the only thing I can say right now. I'm not losing hope. We're R1-1. We're second place in the division, behind the Chargers. That's fine. And it did help that the Broncos lost and the Chiefs lost. To all my Chief fans, I know it's hard right now, but I get it. It's good for me, okay? So, just to recap, the Raiders got to get that right, and then I'll stick to the Chargers. And I think the Raiders will be fine. We're going to be fine. We're 1-1. Let's just ride the storm. We got a couple winnable games down the stretch. Colts, Titans. Let's see how that goes. Maybe Bears. We'll see. Fingers crossed. But 1-1, not a great showing last night, but a lot more improvement from the run game. And just the defense played really well last night. So the Chargers, I want us to talk to about it. So I just mentioned Jesse Minter's defense last night was a boa constrictor last night. And I'm not joking. He was. Because I was telling my dad this right when I walked in last night because I was disappointed this morning. The Raiders lost. I was kind of in a somber mood. But then I went, you know what? Let me break it down. This defense for the Chargers has got dudes everywhere. Derwin James, that Henley guy at linebacker. Khalil Mack still. They're beefy up in the middle. It was hard to run on the Chargers last night. This is a Jim Harbaugh football team. And the thing that this defense, just 2 years ago, was 32nd in the league. With Jim Harbaugh, he comes in 1 year later, it's the best defense in football. Coaching matters. When you got that fraud, Brandon Staley, I don't know. But my point is, that was a Jim Harbaugh team last night. Physical, tough, gut it out, quarterback don't screw it up, keep us in the game, and they did last night. And Justin Herbert is an all-time talent. He is. Let's start judging quarterbacks when shit doesn't go well. When you're without your run game, when you're without this, when you're without that. Justin Herbert, I've seen him do it. He did his rookie year with the shittiest offensive line in the league. And last night, without his best tackle, Rashawn Slater, kicked the Raiders' ass last night. And I give credit where credit's due. So, he's an all-time talent. And I think we criticized him because he hasn't got a playoff win. Let me put this way. Peyton Manning, who I deeply love, took a while to get a playoff win. Okay? This shit's hard. Okay? Jordan Love's got one. He's got to get more. We judge you differently, okay? Herbert's an all-time talent. And listen, had he had Jim Harbaugh, I said this last year, had he had Jim Harbaugh early when he first got in the league, game over, this team could win a Super Bowl. I really still believe that. My brother doesn't think so, but I do. Because this team can play with anybody in the AFC. You want to go Baltimore? Yeah, they can do it. Yep, I've seen it. Not last year, but I've seen them go to Baltimore 2018 and win in Lamar's rookie year. They can do it, okay? They can beat anybody in the AFC. I really believe this because they are conducive to winning football. Run the ball, defense suffocate you. I mean, that defense, give them credit. There was no way to go for the Raiders. From the Raiders last night, they couldn't do anything offensively. Everything was like a struggle. They had a 16-play drive, took 11 minutes off the clock, and they couldn't do anything. So I was a little encouraged with the Raiders getting some plays, but everything was just so short, and everything was just like a bore. It was like paint dry. So I give credit where credit's due with Herbert. He's a baller. They got the coach right finally. I do believe the Chargers are not the Chargers anymore because my brother says this. Well, they're the Chargers. They're going to blow it. And I've said this. They're the Vikings with better weather because they get close. But this is different because they have the coach and they have the quarterback right. And I just have a feeling Chiefs kind of reeling. The Raiders, I don't know what's going on. Denver, Their division's kind of up for the air right now. So watch out for the Chargers. So just to recap, Raiders, going to be a long year. But I'm not quitting on them yet. They got a long way to go. But I was encouraged with some signs last night from Genty. The offensive line still a work in progress. Look at that figured out. Secondary, get that fixed. So long way to go for the Raiders. 1-1, not tripping too hard. But Chargers, they're a contender. They're elite right now. And I do not think for a second they're not going to be in the playoffs because they are. And with that coach, that quarterback, those two together, dynamite. So stay tuned throughout the week. We got a lot of content. Football's back. Grind doesn't stop. Terrific Tuesday. Have a great night. Godspeed.